In this video, we will discuss the best practices for searching and finding students who have dropped out of high school and how that impacts the dropout and cohort graduation reports. For our Cumberland County School social workers, it is important to understand how the dropout report works and the need for accurate reporting. It is important that you refer to the following documents regarding the dropout report. 1. Dropout Data Procedure Manual, and 2. PowerSchool Dropout Reporting Quick Reference Guide. For the cohort graduation rate report, it is important that these students are followed up with each year to see if they have re-enrolled in school or are willing to re-enroll. Pamela Story and Christy Curran are now going to discuss both reports and certain strategies for finding students who have dropped out.
In order to understand how the dropout rate is calculated, one needs to understand actually what is a dropout. A dropout is a student who was enrolled in school at some time during the reporting year, which is 2014-15, but not enrolled by the 20th day of the current school year. The exceptions are if a student has not graduated from high school or completed a state education program, if a student has transferred to another public school, a private school, or a certified homeschool, and if a student is temporarily absent due to a school-approved illness or a death has occurred.
Just like the dropout report rate, it is also important to understand how the cohort graduation rate is calculated and determined. The graduation cohort report is used to determine each school's graduation rate. The report compares the number of students who have a grade 8 EOG year, and for this year it would be 2012, and have been enrolled at your schools during any statewide data collection cycle. As you can see, this data collection happens numerous times throughout the year. Further, the Evaluation and Testing Department will distribute the CGR audit report to the school, and it will be up to the CGR point of contact at the school to research the students that are counting against them and make appropriate changes. This video is actually here to help discuss practices for finding those students. The main difference between the dropout report rate and the cohort graduation report and rate is how they are calculated. The dropout report is based on a yearly basis, whereas the cohort graduation rate is based on a 4-year period. For example, as you can see in this chart, a 9th grader who enrolled as a freshman for the 15-16 school year is now a member of the 2019 graduation cohort. Let's say that that student ends up dropping out of school during their 10th grade year, 2016-17. This dropout will be reported in 2018 as a dropout for the 16-17 school year. Then let's say that during the 17-18 school year, the student returns back to school. As long as that student is re-enrolled and able to still graduate in June of 2019, they will still positively impact the cohort graduation rate, even though they were marked as a dropout for the 16-17 school year. Overall, it is still important to recognize that although the dropout rate and cohort graduation rate are not calculated in the same manner, they still work together as a whole.
So let's talk about some best practices for locating students, and these can be used for both the dropout report and the CGR report. PowerSchools. Make sure that you look at the transfer information for each student and use the student exit comments. And of course, we're going to find and call every telephone number that's listed. Social workers must work with the data managers to print the potential dropout match report and the completers who failed to return reports. Use these along with your leaver roster and your monthly withdrawal report. Practice number 2, the dropout monthly report and individual tracker. Refer to it so that you will have the data that is collected each month on your student withdrawals as mentioned earlier.
For practice 3, there is the North Carolina Student Identification System. This system, it works directly with North Carolina State only. It allows the ability for a statewide search of students. So if you have a student showing up on your dropout report or your cohort graduation rate audit that you believe has moved out of the county or even out of your school, you can search for them and by their name and see what the last LEA and school they were registered for. Practice 4 is using cumulative folders and data manager files. In this instance, hopefully records have been filed within cum folders such as withdrawal papers, if worst case scenario, old contacts, old addresses. For data manager files, they're required to log, whether it's electronic or hard copy, where the parent is stating the student is going to once they've been withdrawn. So once again, having that kind of collaborative partnership with your data managers is helpful.
Practice number 5. The internet and social media are very helpful. Facebook is your friend. And here we've listed some other sites that school social workers have found to be very helpful. Practice 6. Survey your student services staff, your faculty, support staff, like your bus drivers, cafeteria workers. Contact the staff at the feeder school, if applicable, and you can also contact agency staff that may have been working with the students.
For practice 7, you have your home and community visits. As a standard practice, social workers should be making these home visits to the last known address. There's also the ability to visit the parent work sites, as well as attend possibly the church or recreational centers that are within the community. Practice 8 is SEED. SEED is another statewide searching tool that can help look for students that have moved out of state. That's the difference between SEED and NCIS. SEED allows to look outside of North Carolina. As of right now, we can search in Kentucky and Georgia. For assistance with this program, you will need to contact Bobby Joe Pova, the Administrative Assistant for Student Services.
Documentation is crucial. Both these reports are audited by LEA staff here at the Central Services and North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. Therefore, there must be proof. For example, a records request. In other words, you can no longer just say that a student was enrolled in school elsewhere or graduated. We must have proof.
Cumberland County Schools aspires for the graduation rate to increase every year, but at the very least that every high school have a graduation rate of 80%. Our 2015 graduation rate was 81.7%. This year, we are striving and are determined for 82% for the 2016 cohort graduation rate.
Cumberland County Schools aspires for the dropout rate to decrease every year. The 2013-14 school year's dropout rate was 2.2%, which equaled 363 students. We are striving diligently for the 2014-15 rate to be 2.0%. It is important to remember that for the dropout rate, we always report the previous school year. So what are our next steps? Assignment 1. Now is the time to identify all dropouts and search for where they have gone. Remember, this is a collaborative effort between social workers, counselors, administrators, and data managers. However, for purposes of the dropout report, the school social worker is the primary person responsible for completion and accuracy of the data. Assignment 2, go above and beyond. Locate these students and let's get them back in school. Assignment 3, meet your dropout report and your cohort graduation report deadlines. And assignment number 4, continue reporting the monthly withdrawals through the monthly dropout report and individual tracker. The Cumberland County Schools deadline for dropout reporting at all schools is October 5th. This will allow us time to review, audit, and get our corrections done in Power Schools before our final submission. I will be reviewing and auditing as well as reproving reports at the school level in collaboration with the data manager. Audit meetings will be held with each high school social worker to go over your data sheets the week of September 28th through the 30th. And remember, your final reports will require an administrative review and signature.
For the cohort graduation report rate, normally we will not have that data or the audit prepared until the spring semester. However, Juanita Maurer and I will be keeping up with contact of our cohort graduation rate points of contacts of every school. We hope to have data for you by March or April of 2016. At this point in time, we have reviewed what the dropout report and the cohort graduation report, along with the cohort graduation audit, are and the best practices for identifying students who have dropped out and are negatively impacting the Cumberland County Schools dropout rate and graduation rate. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact Pamela Story, Social Work Coordinator, or Christy Curran, the Counselor Coordinator.